Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Shiro Kamo Shirogami or white number 2 Gyuto 240mm knife. And so this knife has a multi-layered construction. So what it's got in the center core cutting edge steel, which you can see that cutting edge steel peeking out right there from the multi-layered acid etched cladding. So it's got a core steel of what's known as Shirogami or white paper number 2, a reactive high carbon steel. Heat treats should be in the 61, maybe 62 Rockwell range for that core steel. And then the cladding is a multi-layered soft iron cladding with some acid etching on it, or Damascus cladding, if you will. Suminagashi on either side. And a very pretty knife. It's kind of a matte finish, which I kind of like because under my lights here, these shiny knives are really hard to deal with. But let's get our beauty shot on this since we've got the kanji on that side. Real pretty knife, kind of dramatic look. It's got hand engraved chiseled kanji on this side, and you can just feel that when you run your finger across it. It's really cool. Here's the right side of the blade as you'd be holding it. Every knife, of course, is going to be a little different. I do have the 210 version of this, so really it's more like, I think, 215 or almost 220. But I decided that I liked it enough where I kept it. And it's an all-reactive blade, but this thing is nice. It's thin. It's got a little bit of spine thickness to it, but it flies through food. It's really nice. It's got some height to it. It's a fun knife to use, and it'll start to take on a really cool patina depending on the kinds of things you cut. So weight and dimensions can vary a little bit from knife to knife. This particular one is 178 grams or 6.3 ounces. Edge length's about 244 or 9.6 inches, so it's a pretty decent sized knife. Overall length's about 390 millimeters or 15.3 inches, and these are fairly thin. Out the handle, above the back of the heel here, I got about 2.6 millimeters, and then about 1.75. So they're not super thick. The performance is great on these. And you can see it doesn't thin out a whole lot beyond that, and you've got a fairly generous grind on these, so they get pretty thin at the tip, which works quite well through product, and they get pretty thin at the edge, and ditto. These work really nice through product. They've got a good balance of thinness and a little bit of meat at the spine enough, and they're fairly stiff in the back half. I'd say quite stiff in the back half, but a little bit of flex in the front half, but overall quite stiff. They're tall. This one's about 58 millimeters at the heel, and you've got a fairly wide neck there, but the handle works perfectly on it to get a continuous spot there for your finger for a pinch grip, and you've got loads of cutting board clearance there, no problem. The handle is a D-shaped, quote, right-hand biased handle that's what they call sandalwood with a black peckerwood ferrule. I'm a lefty and I use D-shape. I've got this knife in 210 and it's got the same handle and it's no problem at all. I have no problem with these D-shape handles because I use a pinch grip. And so my pinch grip, I'm here and I really don't even feel that. If you're a righty, that kind of can lock that in your hand a little bit better. But as a lefty, it does not bother me one single bit. So I wouldn't be too leery if you're a lefty about having a D-shaped handle like this. To me, it doesn't impede me at all. I really don't even notice it. Balance point is going to be a little farther forward on these because it's a bigger blade. And so here's your balance point about there. And pinch grip's going to be a little bit behind that. So this will have a little bit of a weight forward on the blade type bias to the balance point, which is good. This gives you a little bit of feel for some cutting power to this and makes it feel kind of muscular on the cutting board. Let's see, I think we did our beauty shot already, but I'm pretty sure we did it. I'll do one more. So the fit and finish is nicely done. You've got a little bit of rounding on the spine here where the edges are, a little bit of polish and rounding on the choil into the neck. Out of the box edge, I'll give it 5, maybe 6 out of 10. These will get really, really sharp. Very few steels are as easy to sharpen as like Shirogami number 1 or number 2 or even number 3, but they're super easy to sharpen. They'll get razor sharp if you do your part. The grinds are clean. It's a straight blade. It's well crafted. Again, it's all reactive, but as long as you do your part and use it, wash it, dry it well, put it away, you will be fine. Here is our cutting board profile. So you can see it's pretty aggressive towards the tip on the belly, which means I can get pretty high on this, and so this will rock like nobody's business. This will rock like crazy. But you do have a little bit of a flattish area towards the back, and it'll chop pretty well. My 210 chops pretty good towards the back part, no problem. And the middle part's just kind of good versatile profile there. You can push, pull, cut, glide cut, do your stuff. You can do tip draws, but you've got to kind of get pretty high on the handle with this, so it's not the world's best for tip draws. But great for rocking, and a little bit of cutting or just chopping towards the back. So again, tall knife if you like tall type knives, which are kind of nice to get your knuckles in there, and you got plenty of stuff to move against those for cutting. But just a very nice blade, really nice looking, excellent balance performer. It's going to look super cool as you start to use it and get a patina on it. So this is the Shiro Kamo Shirogami or white number 2 Gyuto 240mm knife from Chef Knives to Go.